Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today, we're taking a look at the novel Jim Long, Main Event. I'm going to be giving this a 7- out of 10. This is the next book in the BattleTech series, and it's the first book that's written, one of the few first books that are not written by the big four that have written tons of books, like Andrew J. Keith, or Robert and Charette, or Michael Stackpole. Right, he's written like tons of books by now in the series. I think it's 7 by the time Long gets his first book in Main Event. Main Event basically tells the founding of the Black Thorns Regiment and then our first assignment, and that's it. That's basically what's happening. So again, I'll try to keep my reviews spoiler free, but Main Event is in the BattleTech series. I first read this series when I was in 10th grade, and I've been going back and rereading a lot of these things that I've read once, and then I've just never gone back and reread. I think there's a lot of value in that, in reading things you should read in grade school, or junior high, or high school in this case, or college, and then going back and rereading it after decades of time. What do you think about it now, right? And so I'm going to be giving this one a 6+, like a 6.4, 6.5, or 6.3 that I'm running down to a 6, or maybe a 7-. But yeah, probably leading him. I could also see it as a 6.7 or 6.8. Definitely a 6 something. So it's definitely in that area. It wasn't as strong, but I read it like almost in one day. So I was reading this novel when I was interviewing for a job at Marshall University. I read this novel on the flight over, and then the next day after my interview, and I knocked out the first 40 pages of this on Thursday, right? And then on Friday on my way coming back from home, I knocked out this book at the airport, because my flight didn't leave till 4. And then in the airplanes and on the airport and so forth. And I knocked it out on my flight home before my flight left Charlotte to here in Baltimore. And then I knocked out the next 40 pages of the next Old Far Country, which I've actually never read before. I'm not going back and rereading that one. So I knocked it out basically in one day plus 40 pages, but then I read out 40 pages of the next novel, so I basically did it in one day on her Friday when flying back from home. So it didn't take that long for me to knock it out, but I was dedicated to it, and definitely wanted to finish it off, but it wasn't as gripping as Blood of Heroes, which I just finished. Sorry, I dropped the mic. As Blood of Heroes, or as some other stuff too that were happening out there. So I did enjoy it. Again, it was fast read, and it wasn't that long. It didn't take that long. Probably about 40 pages, or a little bit longer, sometimes faster, in an hour for me to knock out, which is pretty good. And again, Main Event was definitely very gripping. Now, again, I keep my reviews spoiler free, but we can go ahead and talk about that in the comments below. This is so basically our main character for this, our point of view character, is the former scion of a family in the Northwind Highlander Regiment unit, which is considered one of the most prestigious mercenary units of all time. And in the first couple of chapters, he arrives back home to Northwind after serving with Comstar, and he has a meeting with the head with the mercenary the warrior ruling council, and he puts forth a proposal to put together a unit to fight against the clans. And then his father comes in and talks against him, and so they say no, and they vote against his idea. So he leaves in order to found the Black Thorns. His last name is Rose, so you can see why he would go with Rose's Thorns rather than Black Thorns. But he's from the Black Watch mercenary unit from the Northwind Highlanders. So you can see therefore where the Black Thorns comes from, the Black Watch and the Rose Thorns, right? And so forth. So he'll go to Solaris 7. His sister, who he recruits on the planet as well as a cousin, will head over to Solaris, head over to the mercenary recruiting world of Outreach for a few months and interview and set up connections and get them registered as a bonding unit with the Dragoons, while he heads to Solaris 7 to do some fighting and to buy a mech, because he's been dispossessed and so forth. And we'll find out more and more about what's happened with him recently while he's on Solaris 7. He'll open up to one of the local people there. And then he'll bring some folks from Solaris 7, and then we'll move forward. And then that's it. We'll go ahead and push it forward. And that's basically it. That's basically the novel for you. You may have heard of BattleTech from a bunch of different IPs. It was initially a board game and a war game. and then a role-playing game called Mech Warrior, and video games, and then a collectible card game by no less illuminated than Wizards of the Coast, the ones who put out Magic the Gathering, and a collectible miniatures game by no less than WizKids Games, the ones that put out HeroClix and Mage Knight. It's two of the most dominant selling collectible miniatures games that are out there. And then they put out some things like Saturday morning cartoons, and then toys for the Saturday morning cartoon series and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways that you might have heard about this IP, but if you haven't, basically, its core concept is that it's set about 1,000 years in the future in the 31st century, and then we have expanded and colonized thousands of star systems and colonies, and sometimes more than one colony in those systems. So tons of colonies out there, and we have never met intelligent life. So we have taken the worst of ourselves and the best of ourselves with us. We're no better in there than we are in today, unlike something like Star Trek's, where we're the Federation, where we're a few 100 years in the future, where we're so much better, right, than we are today. And we treat each other with so much more respect than we do today, right? So that is, I think, a key part of, that sort of a key concept, which I actually like and I think is very realistic. So anyway, we had a good time for about 300 years called the Star League. Everybody working together and helping each other out and exploring for the purposes of science and so forth. The Star League fell in the mid-28th century rather, and after Ameris took over in a coup, and then they fought against this coup with weapons of mass destruction were used in the coup, and against him. The general Kerensky chooses to leave because he's like, this is not who we're supposed to be anymore. We're supposed to be better people than that. He leaves with a lot of the military, and he'll leave the area behind. His son will set up a new society that'll be called the clans, and then there are 4 succession wars with a lot of weapons of mass destruction used. And again, particularly in the first couple of years, succession wars that take hundreds of years to fight, and it's not until hundreds of years later, in the mid 31st century, that things we're still in the Dark Age, but things are starting to work their way out. And now the clans have invaded, and again, that's what he wants to fight against the clans. The descendants of Kerensky, who have now invaded the inner sphere, and then that's sort of it in a nutshell. So I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read Main Event? Would you like to talk about it in the comments below? Let's do so. Did you agree or disagree with my rating? I'd be more than happy to talk with you further about it in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. If you enjoyed this video, hey, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, so we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.